Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to episode 198, Task. We are 3 episodes away from 200, man. I don't know about you. I don't really have a life anymore. It's basically Hive, and that's it. That's okay, though. Right, Task?
Anymore. That's been my life for the last 5 years. I torched 2 relationships, and the only time I get outside is go food shopping or go for my walks.
Yeah, it's perfect. That's the way we like it. And speaking of having Hive as our lives, very honored to be joined by a couple of gentlemen from the Hive Sucre community. We've got Jon Snow, the legend, the man, the myth, the legend, as well as Edmundo. Welcome, guys. Hello. I'm going to do my best because I'm going to be trying to produce this show, so I won't be talking as much. I'll be trying to produce it and make it enjoyable for the listeners. But welcome, guys, and it's great because, again, Hive is this big global community, and this is the first time we're getting some Venezuelan content here on Maniacs. So, Task, I'll let you dive in, and I'm going to play producer here, man. I'm going to do my best.
Hola, amigos.
Hola, amigos. ¿Cómo estás, Taskmaster? ¿Cómo estás, John? ¿Cómo estás tú? ¿Todo bien? ¿Hablas español?
That's all I know,
bueno.
I don't have no idea.
Hablo español muy un poco.
Muy poco. We can teach you anytime you want to, guys. We are happy to be here, guys. You know us from Venezuela. We are working ourselves really hard in here because we want to put the Hive ecosystem to the place it really deserves. You know the place it really deserves. So it's our pleasure to be here sharing with you guys whatever you have for us.
Well, it's interesting because I love what I see you guys doing down there in Venezuela, and we've been doing a world tour here, and we were had Hive Cuba on a few weeks ago, and then our last guest was Eddie Spino, who of course is in Mexico. And how I came across, obviously there for the last few years, there's been information about Venezuela on Hive and what's going on with the Hivians in Venezuela. But what really caught my attention was post by, and forgive me, I don't remember his last name, by Omar. And some of the posts he put up, he started talking about after an event you had, there were a number of businesses that started to accept HBD and Hive as payment. And I thought that really, really fascinating because, in my study of money and economics and finance, I know what's going on with the Bolivar, especially compared to the dollar and the troubles that your country faces because of the devaluation of Bolivar, which makes everything imported more expensive, makes the repayment of debt more expensive, or at least debt in U.S. dollars. And then I also understand how in many developing countries, even though 70% of the U.S. dollar banknotes are outside the U.S., you don't really have access to digital dollars because you have to have banknotes, which are hard to come by. Banking systems are not always, let's just say, the most honest in the world. And of course, there's danger in holding currency. So when I noticed that there was a group of people down in Venezuela, down from where I'm at, obviously, latching on to HBD, I said, this is the real use case because it gives you access to U.S. dollar denominated asset in digital form that can be used as a medium of exchange. Yet you don't have to have physical items. It can be on your smartphone or on your, it's just in your Hive wallet. So can you guys, either of you, share a little bit about how that came to be and who started this, what started it, and how it's going?
I think John froze. Oh, yep. So we'll switch over to Armando. Hold on.
I'm sorry, I'm back again.
Yeah.
All right.
Kind of.
Or I think this is a question for Edmundo. I gotta say that we are working as a team here in Venezuela, but Edmundo is the one that is directly in charge of Hive Sucre. He's the guy. He's the guy to talk about how the project has progressed in Cumaná. So I'm gonna translate your question to Edmundo so he can answer, and I will translate back. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
So Taskmaster está preguntando que cómo surgió todo el proyecto de High Sucre, de dónde nació, cómo han hecho para lograr que negocios acepten HBD y Hive como forma de pago.
Saludos chicos. Hi Tom Master. Hi Jonathan. Sorry, is my English bad. Bueno, High Sucre surge de la idea de la creación de un ecosistema nuevo en Hive. La verdad que los pagos con HBD también surgen mediante la creación de este evento. Nosotros, desde un principio, la intención era generar o crear oportunidades en las cuales nosotros tuviéramos líderes con relación a las ataduras de la economía que ejerce un Estado o el billete físico, el dólar. Nosotros aplicamos, ¿cómo se explica? ¿Cómo te lo digo? Nosotros adquirimos o tomamos la decisión también de que negocios en Cumaná, Estado Sucre, empezaran a aceptar lo que es el pago en HBD. Esto ha sido una tarea ardua y el poder de convencerlos también es generarle confianza a estos negocios, los cuales están ahorita en Sucre, que aceptan HBD, que más allá de crearse una cuenta y de que ellos sean nuevos propietarios, porque son propietarios en realidad, en vez de usuarios, nosotros los tratamos como socios a ellos mismos, pues, a través de el aporte que se hace en lo que se refiere a material de marketing y publicidad, llevando el logo de Hive, una empresa. Jamás se había visto en Venezuela ni en ninguna parte del mundo que un negocio aceptase HBD y que tuvieran el logo de la empresa, siendo este el retorno hacia nosotros, hacia Hive, lo que es la publicidad y marketing.
Understood what? Did you guys understand what Edmundo said?
After he said hello, John, hello, Taskmaster, he lost us.
That was about it, man. Yeah, like hello, how you doing? Hi, and then yeah, that was about it for me too. Yeah, sorry, dude.
Oh my God.
This is fun. This is why you're here, man. We appreciate you.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Of course. I'm gonna answer what Edmundo said. So basically, Taskmaster summarized it pretty much perfectly. We are in a situation where we have to look for tools to do transactions among businesses and among people, because the dollars here are very scarce. So Hive has helped us in Venezuela to fulfill a little bit that necessity of looking for foreign currency, because our local currency is very devaluated and it doesn't worth its value. It's like zero. It's not worth anything. So given that necessity and all the projects that has been developing in Venezuela, the idea of High Sucre came. Sucre is a state that is located in the oriental side of the country. So they are like a small town, but it's a huge place with many opportunities to market not only Hive but cryptocurrencies at all. We have tourists in there, so the businesses are like very open to listen to what Edmundo had to offer to them. Edmundo was very polite to them at the beginning. It was very difficult because he heard many times no for an answer. He had many rejections, but in the end, the hard work really paid off. And right now we have like how many businesses? ¿Cuántos negocios hay ahorita?
21.
Right now we have 21 businesses accepting Hive or HBD as mean of exchange.
That's excellent. John, could you ask Edmundo what types of businesses are accepting the currencies?
¿Qué tipo de negocios están aceptando
HBD? Okay. Los negocios que están aceptando HBD actualmente son bodegones que venden alimentos que son consumidos normalmente por el venezolano común.
Tenemos también actualmente negocio, una posada turística, tenemos una ferretería constructora. Son muchos negocios en realidad los cuales se han acercado a aceptar lo que es el pago en HBD. Y el próximo paso que estamos pensando luego es una base segura, o sea, una base que le dé circulación a la moneda. Vendríamos por los proveedores ahora para que haya circulación de la moneda en realidad, lo que es el HBD, porque de nada vale tener una base de negocio y que estos negocios no tengan proveedores que ellos compren con los HBD a ciertos proveedores. Ese es el objetivo que tenemos actualmente en Sucre, luego de consolidar estos 21 negocios que son una base muy, muy fuerte ahorita en Sucre, realmente, Tarnaste, John Wilson. Esto cada vez se va a poner mucho mejor ya llegar al punto de los proveedores. Solamente con ofrecerles a los comerciantes, a los usuarios, que las transacciones son en 3 segundos y sin comisiones y que estas sean muy fáciles, en realidad solamente usando tus claves. Esto está dando realmente ¿cómo decirlo? Una perspectiva nueva a la economía en el estado Sucre.
I guess you guys got that, right?
It's being recorded.
Yes.
Got every word.
Yeah. I'm going to translate it later, but yeah, absolutely, we're good.
Yes. So basically, Edmundo said that we are out of the 21 businesses that are currently accepting Hive and HBD. Most of them are related to food businesses, but there are other type of businesses as electronic businesses and other types. But the main goal right now is to establish a trust among the businesses that are accepting our currency. I think that is like one of the main objectives we have. And besides that, we want to like up the work we are doing, and we want to not only convince Hive businesses in Cumaná to accept Hive and HBD, but we want to attack the supplier market. Like if businesses are accepting our currency, they can use it to pay for the merchandise or the things they are selling or are trying to work here in Venezuela. So I think that is a nice approach. We have the user base already. We have some sort of liquidity. Most of the people that are spending Hives and HBD in Cumaná are people that are actually blogging and are getting the rewards from blogging. But I think we have a very nice place to explore other strategies to make Hive more mainstream in the state.
Yeah, I think you touch upon one of the first layers, I think, and this is just stepping back, but I think one of the first layers of Hive is obviously the blogging, the main reward pool, in addition to the tribe reward pools, Leo and CTP and whatever. But then from there, it's the idea of building an economy around it, payment systems, selling merchandise, things of that nature to really expand it out. And what I want to ask, I'll ask this of each of you. John, you can respond it, then have Mundo. In the developed world, we see a lot of discussion around regulation, and the governments, they kind of go back and forth with crypto. And, you see that with Russia, too. We've seen it with China. Yeah. They go back and forth. What is the government of Venezuela's stance, in your opinion, and Mundo, in your opinion? What is the government stance on crypto? Are they kind of friendly, are they oppressive, or do they just kind of ignore it?
Well, that's an interesting question, actually. The Venezuelan government is like putting their face on the other side. I would say they couldn't care less about what people are doing, and actually they this everything that is happening with crypto and all of the projects that are around there, it's convenient for them because the situation in Venezuela is like critical when it comes to economics. So this is a way to receive extra currencies from other source. So this is like very opportunistic to them, and they actually despite we don't have like a legal mark or a legal scope with everything related to cryptocurrencies here in Venezuela, because they are like allowing it. They are not messing around with people. I believe Venezuela is, and the government is very okay with what people are doing here related to cryptocurrencies, because it's like another source of income, other currencies that Venezuelans may have to actually spend it in here. So the government, to summarize it, the government is very, very like, they don't care what people is doing here.
Okay.
That's kind of nice,
Does
right?
Edmundo have
I
anything to add
wish.
to that?
Sorry, go ahead, sir. I just wish personally my country was like that. I wish they would just be like, hey, let's bring it in. Let's. Anyways, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we are like a pariah country in that regard, if you ask me, because they're not like in a hunt of people who are working with cryptocurrencies. We actually exchange a lot. We use a lot of peer-to-peer exchange. They are like just letting us go with that.
Yeah, well, it's very interesting to see the geopolitical dynamics and how, and I found Russia to be a fascinating story, because Russia really clamped down, the Russian government clamped down on crypto, a couple years ago, and clamped down on the Russian population from using crypto. And then as soon as the sanctions came down from the United States, the Russian government turned around and turned to crypto to get around the United States sanctions. So it's really, it's kind of, cryptocurrency. The great thing is anybody can use it to get around the oppressor, whoever the oppressor is, whether it's your own government or whether it's a government being oppressed by another government, as the situation is with Russia. And of course, Venezuela has been under sanctions for years from the U.S.
Absolutely, and it's actually convenient to them, because the currency they're not getting thanks to the sanctions or whatever, they are getting it via cryptocurrency. So they avoid all the shortcuts, and people can do transactions like freely. So yeah, we are lucky in that regard, if you ask me.
Well, I think that means that we need to make Venezuela the epicenter for Hive and HBD.
Yes, actually, yes, absolutely. These types of countries that are in this situation are like I'm going to quote this because, but we are like the Guinea pigs. You can experiment with us because we have, though we don't have it written in law, we are free to do whatever we want when it comes to cryptocurrencies.
Well, I think as Edmundo and his team over in Sucre is doing, shows the potentiality, because it really becomes a grassroots initiative where people are just looking, and when I say people, merchants, traders, customers, business people, they're just looking at their tools and their resources and their opportunities, and they're just starting to grasp on and develop what works for them.
Yes, absolutely. And people make the mistake that when they see a country that is struggling, they automatically believe that the whole country is struggling, but it's not the case in Venezuela, as many of the countries people live in. There is money in Venezuela, actually. There is money in Venezuela. There are potential investors, we can, offer our product. So I think it's a teamwork that we are doing here at Mundo and Berusca, that are the main leaders of the High Sucre project, are doing a fantastic job around there. They are kicking the streets every single day to visit businesses and try to show them our product. So it's great. It's great what we're doing here.
If you could ask Mundo, how often does he use HBD or Hive to make payments?
Okay, you got it. ¿Con qué frecuencia usan HBD y Hive para hacer pagos allá en Cumaná en los negocios?
Ok, actualmente estamos trabajando en función a crear una conciencia en realidad de que los usuarios, más allá de que sigan cambiando su HBD en plataformas, en exchange, en casas de cambio diferentes que lo quieran abolir, estamos convenciéndolos de que usen su HBD en estos negocios. Pero para ello seguimos en el trabajo de conseguir negocios los cuales cubran las necesidades básicas de estos usuarios acá en Cumaná, bien sea la comida, que es el gasto mayor que se hace realmente, y también sitios de distracción, los cuales estamos trabajando y que ya van a ser incluidos ahora nuevamente en los 11 negocios que acabamos de aperturar, Berusca y mi persona. Conseguimos 11 negocios más, los cuales van a brindar estas oportunidades de que el consumo sea mucho más continuo también, o sea, que se haga de manera más frecuente en estos negocios. Así que van a haber próximamente nuevas estaciones con HBD en estos negocios nuevos que se acaban de aperturar y que cubren las necesidades básicas de estas personas en realidad, porque para eso fueron incluidos.
Yes, so Edmundo says that most of the people that spend HBD and Hive in Cumaná, they mostly do on food establishments or businesses that offer food like mini markets, supermarkets, etc. But they are trying to reach another type of businesses to spend on, because most of the people that live in Cumaná, the use that they give to HBD and Hive is mostly to buy foods and regarding feeding and all that stuff. So it's not like they spend all the HBD and Hive in food businesses. There are other types of businesses that they can and they actually spend of them, but most of the businesses right now are related to food and to the when it comes to the feeding of the people. And it's easy for them. It's easy for them that way, because instead of using a peer-to-peer exchange to exchange the Hive or HBDs for local currency, they directly spend the Hive or HBD instead of doing that process. So it's like basically accepting Hive and HBD as currency, which is great.
So how does it work like how we would think of using crypto here would be, like a crypto.com debit card, or, going to a Bitcoin ATM and withdrawing fiat how does it work there in Venezuela if you're going to like a food market or a restaurant or something like that? How do you exchange? Is it peer-to-peer there as well, or do they have a system set up where they can literally exchange?
They just send in the wallet address.
So yes, yeah. Every business they visit and finally accept HBD and Hive as form of payment, they automatically have a Hive account. They set up a Hive account for them. They explain to them about their keys, about how to use their wallets, and they receive their Hive in their accounts.
Wow! So
people make payments just on their phone.
Yes. Awesome. So, for instance, I think Taskmaster saw the first business, Los Hijos de Wasi, if I'm not mistaken, is the name of the first business that accepted Hive and HBD over there. So they basically have a Hive wallet and they receive their currency in there. So yeah.
So it's all, and then like if you wanted to exchange it to get it, it's peer to peer. Like to exchange it, how would you do it for Bitcoin and then for the Bolivar, or like how is that process for people that might be brand new to even knowing about this?
Okay, what you're asking is how people exchange Hive or HBD for local currencies?
Exactly. Yeah, it's all peer to peer.
Yes, when you have a market of a very large user base like Venezuelans have in Hive, there are many opportunities for businesses. So we have, for instance, we have three local peer-to-peer exchanges. They are Venezuelans, so they directly exchange local currency for Hive or HBD. And most people, for large transactions, they use Binance. So we are like very educated in that regard.
That's awesome. See, this is something Task and I have been saying. Well, mostly Task. I got to give Task the credit for this. But this is what he said about why Hive is so important for the grand crypto plans. Because countries like Venezuela are literally adopting it for day-to-day stuff. It's not just a theory. Like, you guys are actually using this stuff. And we always scream, oh, we need use case. You guys are literally living and you know, using it each and every day. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's really awesome, and it's really important to have this type of cases like Venezuela and other countries that are doing a fantastic job, because in order to gain trust among future investors and people that are looking outside our box, they need to make sure that the product actually works. And we that are most, and you guys, of course, because you use the Hive blockchain every single day, but we, the people that are using the platform in many ways, exploring new use cases, we are giving the example of how this ecosystem actually works. So yeah.
Yeah, I want to take what John said and go one step further. And if you want to toss this to Amundo, since he's on the ground there, really pushing it. I think the interesting thing is you have your first layer is businesses accepting HBD as payment. So you go and have lunch there, and it's, I don't know, 5 HBD. You get on your phone and you send 5 HBD to the restaurant's wallet. Everything's done. You paid for your lunch. Of course, what probably happens, if I had to guess, is the restaurant gets the HBD, and then the restaurant goes to Binance or goes to wherever and swaps the HBD to Bolivar. And I think the important point to get to is that second layer where the restaurant doesn't convert the HBD to Bolivar, but the restaurant takes the HBD and then starts using it for his or her own purposes because they need supplies, they need lettuce, tomatoes, whatever the case may be. And so when you get the local economy up to the point where everybody's using the currency back and forth, and they're actually interacting in HBD and ignoring the Bolivar, that's when I think you have something. And has Amundo thought about at what point that happens?
Okay, let me say that to the mundo. Taskmaster está diciendo acerca de que tenemos una primera capa que son los negocios aceptando HBD, pero una vez los negocios reciben la moneda, después que hacen ellos con ella, ellos la gastan o la cambian por la moneda local. Entonces Taskmaster da una buena idea y dice que en una posible segunda capa, ¿qué haría el negocio que recibe los HBD o los Hive? Con eso sería lo ideal, o en un mundo ideal es que usen la misma moneda para ellos transar con los proveedores, por ejemplo, y que los proveedores usen la misma moneda para transar con otro proveedor, otro tipo de negocio. La idea es usar el HBD o el Hive y que no salga de allí y no se vuelva de vuelta a Bolívar. So, ¿cuál es la estrategia que harías allí o que se haría allí?
Ok, para eso estamos trabajando actualmente. Luego de conseguir los 11 negocios como se los dijimos ahora, queremos captar proveedores. Esto ya es una movida mucho más grande también que se va a realizar, que los proveedores acepten el HBD y que en Sucre hacer una conciencia dentro de los proveedores para darle el uso al HBD entre ellos mismos, o sea, que transen entre ellos mismos en realidad, que hay una economía, por decirlo así, interna, y que el HBD no se venda, sino que circule entre nosotros. Es algo que va a llevar tiempo en realidad, porque primero que nada, estamos ahorita
lo que es dándole una educación a estos comerciantes de cómo usar estos HBD. O sea, me explico. El HBD y el GAIS, cada uno tiene un uso en realidad. Entonces, lo que estamos haciendo es educarlos y mostrarles las potencialidades que tienen estas criptos en realidad y que no las cambien a la moneda local ni nada por el estilo. Pero para ellos viene esa idea que dice Stackmaster, en la cual tenemos que utilizar, tenemos que captar proveedores para que haya una economía interna en realidad, o sea, que el proveedor acepte el HBD y que él mismo también lo pueda utilizar o sea, es una economía en el ecosistema que se está creando en realidad, en la segunda capa.
All right. So Edmundo says that with 21 businesses already accepting our currency, he agrees. He totally agrees with Taskmasters when it comes to like trying to explore a second layer, because in the end we are losing. When people get bolívares here in Venezuela, the first thing they do is to look up for dollars in the black market. So why look for dollars in the black market if we have already HBD that is pegged to $1? So we need to establish a better communication channels and better educational channels to local businesses to teach them that HBD can work as an alternative to the US dollar, for instance. And there are other ways to attack this market, like offering them the 20% APR that HBD offers when you put them into savings, which in my opinion is very attractive and a very underrated tool for investors. So yeah, basically, now that we have a very good number of businesses accepting HBD, we can attack the suppliers and tell them that this currency that local businesses are receiving is one that may suffice their needs when they don't find the US dollars they so are looking for on the black market, and that are scarce actually.
Did you guys see Task light up there? I did. He was so proud. He's like, this HBD talk when you said the 20% and replacing this. I was watching him. It was impressive, man. You made him glow.
Well, it's interesting, and John Snow, not Django. John, if you could comment on this. I get into discussions, if you will, all the time with people about the U.S. dollar, and it's funny how the U.S. dollar is the most hated currency in the history of the world, and there's a certain sector of people who say, oh, it's going to crash, and the ones who hate the dollar are the ones in mostly the United States and Western Europe. Those people who are outside the dollar zone, they love the dollar. I mean, I speak to people in Nigeria. We had Hive Cuba on, you guys in Venezuela. I mean, getting your hands on dollars is actually better than getting your hands on gold, because dollars you can transact with. It's a medium of exchange. You can walk into any shop, I'm sure, in Venezuela. And if you have US dollars, I mean, you're treated like a king. And, I think the HBD, the reason why, as Django says, I light up, is because you have the store of value in HBD that's tied to the US dollar, but you don't have to carry around the physical dollars. You don't have to go to the black market. You don't have to put yourself or your family or your business at risk, because nobody knows what HBD you have because it's on your smartphone. I mean, if they check your wallet, they know, but seeing one person walk down the street versus another person, you don't know if they have any HBD or not.
That's right. And that is one of the things that are really, really attractive about our ecosystem. The HBD, the 20% APR, come on. Oh my God. It's like a no-brainer. And like you said, I don't know about other countries. I only can speak for Venezuela. But what most people look for in here to protect against inflation, yeah, they buy gold, they buy silver, you can buy property, a car, a house if you have the chance. But most of the people in here look for the US dollar. So if HBD avoids all the hassles to go into the black market, I think it's a great big deal of a chance. We have to promote it because we have the technology. We have used the technology. We know how it works. It actually works. We have, like, if you count the years of the late blockchain, we have like 6 years kicking ass here in Venezuela using cryptocurrencies. Like I don't know, well, more time than that, but we know the product. That's what I'm trying to say. We know the product. We have used it, and we trust it because of the many years it has worked for us.
Okay, let's go back to Sucre and how did Amundo and the original starters of what they have going on in Sucre, how did they find Hive and how did they start Hive Sucre? Where did all this come from?
Nice, interesting question. ¿Cómo llegaron a Hive? ¿Cómo llegaste a Hive? ¿Y cómo surge el proyecto de Hive Sucre?
¿Cómo llegué yo a Hive?
Sí, ¿cómo llegaste a Hive y cómo surge el proyecto de Hive Sucre?
Bueno, en realidad yo llego a Hive debido a que en realidad el trabajo que tenía anteriormente no me daba nada, o sea, no tenía una economía estable, pues. Tengo dos niños a mi cargo que necesitan tener sus cosas en realidad, y se presenta la oportunidad y se abren las puertas de mi esposa @Marianis, que ya la plataforma, y yo ingreso a Hive como blogger solamente, en realidad, haciendo mis posts, mis videos, y ahí va generando mi economía relativamente estable, ganando mis HBD y mis Hives, pero mediante seguir estudiando la plataforma, viendo las oportunidades que se habían presentado fuera del blog, o sea, fuera de ser blogger, se presenta la oportunidad de crear proyectos, los cuales sumaran y le dieran una ubicación a Hive o posicionarla de una mejor manera. Y sale Hive Sucre. ¿Cómo sale Hive Sucre? Mediante el proyecto de la criptoadopción, del HBD, de cómo generar esa economía que me estaba beneficiando a mí en realidad y a los usuarios que hacen vida en Cumaná, que estamos hablando que son más de 100 usuarios actualmente, estamos hablando de 140 usuarios, que hay unos que están inactivos, unos que están activos, pero estamos trabajando en la activación de los mismos los usuarios y de que generaran estos HBD para darle la circulación a la moneda. De allí nace Hive Sucre también. Hive Sucre se ha convertido en un movimiento actualmente, el cual nos llena de mucha alegría y mucho entusiasmo. O sea, estamos ilusionados con esto y la ilusión se está concretando en realidad en algo tangible, pues, algo que ya está allí. Solamente que 21 negocios acepten HBD en Sucre, siendo la primera, por decirlo así, criptociudad del mundo, el primer lugar mundo cripto Hive, que tiene 21 negocios que acepten el HBD, es un paso muy grande. Toca seguir educando, seguir trabajando en función a que usuarios usen el HBD y, como ya tú lo propusiste, también que los proveedores también acepten HBD. Esa es la próxima movida que tenemos ahora.
Yes, so basically Edmundo says that his beginnings on the Hive blockchain are related to, like, everybody's here, like the same necessity all Venezuelans had. You know, our economic system is like cracked. The minimum salary is like $5 currently, if I'm not mistaken, $5 or $4. Nobody works for that. So in the search of new alternatives to make an income, to have an income, his wife found the Hive ecosystem. So after a couple of weeks, in the Hive ecosystem, his wife saw that by using the ecosystem, in this case by blogging, she found an alternative that it helped her in many, many ways to suffice the necessities they have at home. So in there, or thanks to that, he knew about Hive thanks to his wife. So after it, he noticed that in Cumana there is a very high Hive user base. There are around 150 to 200 users in there in one place. So given that, he organized an event last year. In that event, he made contact with all the people that are working inside the blockchain, blogging and doing their stuff. And together they come with the idea of establishing a community, to take a serious or a more serious approach. And thanks to that, Hive Sucre was born. So Edmundo, this is my opinion, these are my words. Edmundo is a very hardworking guy that he puts the goal of convincing businesses to accept Hive and HBD as mean of exchange of goods and services. So this is new in Venezuela because it's really hard to engage with local businesses and talk about, cryptocurrency. Maybe this is something they don't know about. So it's really, really hard to engage them. So he took that step that many of us, even I didn't take that step. So I admire him for that. So after a couple of no's, he managed to convince the first business to accept Hive and HBD. So here we are, telling this story to you guys.
I got a question about does Hive Sucre as well do stuff on chain, where you guys are maybe curating content for your community specifically? Do you guys do that with a certain account for anyone that's interested in following what you're doing?
Okay, I can answer that for Mundo. Ustedes abrieron una cuenta they have an account of iSucre, an official account. It's not really active right now because I think they opened it last week. And they just opened a community for hivers in the zone to post there, to have all of them in one place. We don't have a curation project yet, but there are some ways that are supporting what we are doing here. There is, they call me Dan, Guilty Parties, Appreciator, and many of the ways that are looking what we are doing here. They have been very open, but in my opinion, if you wanted to take things to another level, it's paramount to have an account with certain quantity of high power to start something, a serious curation project. And more than that, it's really important because how you provide liquidity to the zone. I mean, you can look up for investors, you can look up for people that may be interested in a project, but how can you provide liquidity to the people that are working in Cumana? I mean, the easier way to get liquidity right now is by blogging, just by blogging. So I think we have to look for other means to gain liquidity in the city. So we have more to expand and of course to show to the world that this project and that Hive actually works.
For sure.
Well, John, I don't know if Amundo is aware, and I know Django isn't even aware, but we're having a contest for our 200th episode. And I'm very pleased to announce that Amundo is the winner. And by the way, Django, you owe me 25 HBD. What we're going to do, John, is we will send Amundo 50 HBD. It's going to take me a little while because it's all locked up. It's in savings. But later this week or beginning of next week, I'll send Amundo 50 HBD. So it's a little, hey, let us throw some money into that area, and he can go spend it around, take people out to lunch, whatever he wants to do.
All right. So what do you want me to ask him? What would he do with the 50 HBD?
Well, he's going to support what he's doing. John Go and I are going to send him 50.
Oh, I got it. Nice. That's very cool. Edmundo, Taskmaster and John Golson te van a enviar en estos días 50 HBD por el gran trabajo que estás haciendo.
Thanks, guys.
He understood that.
Yeah.
Suddenly he speaks English.
All of a sudden,
50 HBD in my wallet. I understand. No comprende.
That's the money language right there.
Money and sex, the two things universal, everybody understands.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't have to translate that.
Amundo, next week we'll send you 50 HBD and take people out to lunch, or start spreading it around Sucre.
Exacto, que te van a mandar 50 HBD la semana que viene para que los gastes en los negocios y saques a comer a tu familia y le muestres a High Sucre que esto funciona.
Perfecto. Con esto con esta aporte que van a realizar en realidad, voy a hacer como especie de una actividad con los Hyber en Sucre. Va a ser destinado completamente a ellos, con los Hyber en Sucre, para que sumen los negocios y hacer una cantidad bien sea de post de los consumos de estos usuarios de Hive en dicho negocio, y mostrar que en realidad esta economía sí es factible y sí se va a dar en su momento. Pues todo lleva su tiempo, pero para ello se creó la comunidad que le acaba de decir Jon Snow, pero ese dinero se ha destinado para ello.
Well, Edmundo says that he's gonna take a bunch of hivers to spend those 50 HBD. They are going to create content to show the people that it's possible to businesses to accept HBD as currency. So I think they're probably going to have some beers in a local business or going to a restaurant to spend the HBDs. So that's really nice.
Django, they're going to write their posts after having beers.
That'll be great. I'm definitely going to Google Translate for that.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Yeah.
John, would you tell Amundo to tell them when they write those posts to make sure to use the Leo tag? That way I see it and I can upvote those posts out of my Leo account and get them not only a little bit of HBD or high power on the post, but get them a little Leo also?
Absolutely. Me está diciendo que cuando vayan a publicar esos posts que usen la etiqueta de Leo Finance para que salga en el front end de Leo Finance y Taxmaster y John puedan ver los posts y darle un voto, quizás dar algunos tips con HBD y todo eso.
Ok, perfecto, así será. Se utilizará la etiqueta de los finance de cada uno de estos posts, y más si estos posts van directamente dirigidos como a la economía en realidad, y pueden ser publicados directamente en la comunidad de los finance. Pregúntale eso por.
Sí, no, he's asking that if the posts can be published on Leo Finance. I just told him that yes, he can publish them in there and use the tag Leo Finance. And of course, he has to use Leo Threads to promote them.
They can use ECNC or Peak D. He just has to use the Leo, and Eliana in the chat said also use the CTP tag because she'll upvote those posts because she's a whale in CTP. Right. Don't pay attention, Django. He's nothing in CTP. He just
I've lost all my tokens.
So yeah, they can use whatever front end they want. Just use the Leo and the CTP tag so they appear in those
finance CTP. Yes, he got it. He now knows. So yeah.
I'm absolutely fascinated with this because I put it in chat too, like even in the Leo threads, the thread storm that Task started. I love, and I know Task is going to roll his eyes behind his sunglasses when I say this. I love actual use case for this stuff. I love hearing, like, one of the biggest aha moments I had was a couple of years ago, and it was a lady from Venezuela, and I can't remember her username now, but she literally put a post out saying that from her everyday use of the blockchain, she's been able to pay for all of her mother's medicine. She's been able to, like, get a whole bunch of stuff for her mom who was going through this stuff. That to me was this big, huge, like, yes, this is what Hive can do, and I love it, man. I mean,
That's it. That's the real value of Hive and cryptocurrencies overall, if you ask me. That's the real value. No, not only the use cases, but the quality of the people that work in the ecosystems, because the human side and the human part is very important. But yeah, Hive has been, and I'm not overreacting with this, but it has been very life-saving in here.
Love it.
Well, Eliana just threw in who John was talking about. I think I'm pronouncing the name right. Selly 30, and I don't know if she's Venezuelan. I think she's Brazilian. Do you know her, John? Snow?
What's her name? Sorry.
Selly
CELI 30. She's in Leo Threads a lot. She has.
I need to look for her. Yes, I need to look for her. The name doesn't ring a bell, but if she's Venezuelan, I must know her. Yes, if she's Venezuelan, I must know her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think she may be.
But yeah, not only, we have to remember that Hive is global, of course, and Venezuela is one of many countries that are using our ecosystem. But yeah, not only in Venezuela, Hive is helping a lot of people like Ghana, for instance, Nigeria. So yeah.
Oh, I love it. That's one of the biggest draws to me to this blockchain. Just like you said, there's a real human side to this. And this is what a lot of people in traditional crypto, they're just looking at green candles. They want to see Bitcoin go to the moon. They want to see crypto go green candles all the time. Hive is an actual human blockchain. It's the human experience. It's everything I believe that's good about humanity is here on Hive.
Yeah.
And you're seeing it. Like, there's so many amazing people. Like, they call me Dan, always delegates to these projects and just always upvoting people in different communities, not just John Go and Task. I mean, it's like, there's so much more here, and I love it. Again, Task and I are kind of fanboys of Hive. So
well, and I think it's very interesting to look at. Just even in the Western Hemisphere, if we could stay here and not even go to the eastern part of the world, but in the Western Hemisphere, those of us, for the most part, in the United States and Canada, we operate and look at things differently than, even Mexico is kind of like the United States and Canada. Okay, they have certain areas, but you get down into Central America and certainly South America. There, and then you go throughout the Caribbean with the Cubas and the Haitis and the Dominican Republics. And there's a lot of areas where just base level economics can be improved by tapping into a global economy, what I've been calling the Hive economy. And, something as simple as John and I sending $50 into Sucre. Okay, that's not going to change the world, but here's $50 coming into an area that if you multiply that through the reward pools and the different coins and tokens and through activity, all of a sudden that can tap into a much broader economy than is either local in Sucre or local in Venezuela. And that's a big shift for people.
Yeah, it actually makes a lot of difference. So yeah. Absolutely.
We have an announcement that has been upped to 75 75 HBD now.
Say what?
Best start in chat in Vim. One of the guys I've known the longest out of all of my businesses online. I've known this guy for over a decade plus. He just put in Vim that he said, put me down for 25 HBD, excuse me. As well for
that's a new one.
Yeah, I know. I don't even know what that is. HDB.
So-
What is it?
Okay, so just tell best start. Just send that to my account, and I'll end up forwarding. John will send his to me. So, John, you can just tell Emundo we lied on the 50. It's now 75.
There you go. Yeah.
Nice, that's really nice. Mira que ya no son 50 sino 75 lo que te van a mandar.
Oh,
He understood that. He understood that
it's
perfectly.
good tunes.
Look at his face. He's really happy.
Mundo's saying to himself, the longer I sit here, the more money I get. Can we keep this show going on for a week? We'll have 1,000 ATVs before the end of the week.
He understood that as well. knowing Edmundo, I'm pretty sure he can last a week online.
So 75 HBD, best start. Thank you for supporting it. We appreciate that. That's great. And as I said, Mundo, I got to free up my 25. I don't know if John's looking for his 25 either, but we'll get it to you next week. Go right. John Snow, if you could drop in Discord, maybe his Hive name, so I have that. I might already have it, but
yeah, we'll do. No worries. We'll do. You got it. But Edmundo is saying don't. Sorry. You were saying sorry.
I was just going to say, if you send me in Discord, his account is Jon Snow 1983. I'll know something's wrong.
Right. Yeah. Perfect.
No, it's Edmundo's account. I'm gonna send you Edmundo's account. It's okay.
Yes, not yours.
If I send you my account, I'm gonna take those HBD with me. Look at Edmundo's face.
Traduce.
Que si los mandan a mi cuenta te los voy a quitar.
No.
I understood that. I understood that Spanish. No.
To his account.
Yeah. So, John, any questions from the peanut gallery?
No, people are just fired up. Just like John just said in chat, best start. He said feels right, like this is the right thing to do, and he wants to support it, and he'll send it to UTAS. So it's just it's the human element of this blockchain. And
yeah.
You know, I love seeing it. I mean, I'm a massive
community.
fan.
I have seen many communities in the crypto space, and community-wise, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but community-wise, Hive is the best community around.
Not even close. Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely. There's nothing even remotely close to what we got.
Speaking of that, one question I had for you guys, and they made a big push a couple years ago, and I haven't heard anything about it. But it seemed like they were making a little headway and some traction in Venezuela. Do you see Dash around at all anymore?
Edmundo, I don't think he knows about this. Do you know about Dash? The Dash situation, lo que ocurrió con la criptomoneda Dash en Venezuela?
No,
he doesn't know about this. I know a little bit what happened. I haven't heard from Dash like in years, like in 1-2 years without hearing about Dash. I mean, there must be people talking about it in here, but it is like just wipe out of the country. I don't know what happened in there. I heard something happened with their DAO, if I'm not mistaken, but the Dash was a cryptocurrency that most people talk about in here, but not right now. It's like people is not talking too much about Dash in here.
Dude, Hive is better anyways. Doesn't matter. So there you
go. Of course. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Guys, appreciate everything you're doing. Thank you for really, being champions of this brand and this blockchain. So continued success, and let us know, and especially come back and with some updates in a couple months. I gotta send both of you guys badges, because that's what we do.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. So I need both usernames. John, I know yours, but Edmundo, if you can send it to. I'm gonna send it. Yeah, I'm gonna send it to Taskmaster after the show. I'm gonna send it to him.
I'll
Perfect.
send it to John.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Get 5 Buzz badges.
Yeah, nice. It's good to have another batch. The CryptoManiacs batch.
He's going to end up with 75 HBD and a badge out of this show.
Mira, 75 HBD y una medalla que te van a poner en tu perfil. ¿Qué más quieres?
Sin palabras, de verdad que esto es maravilloso.
No llores, el mundo.
No, it's not right. Pero la verdad que esto es una alegría recibir esa medallita, más allá de los HBD que se van a gastar en la actividad que les estuve comentando, la actividad que se va a hacer en Sucre. Pero estoy muy contento y la satisfacción que esto me ha dado en realidad. Y debo también decirle que parte de este gran éxito y pieza fundamental es Veruca Axure 89, creo que se lo explica, es parte fundamental de esto también. Igualmente yo, ¿no? Desde un principio estando a la par siempre conmigo, pues trabajando en todos los proyectos que hemos realizado, siempre he estado en cada uno de los meetings que se han realizado, los eventos, siempre apoyado y de verdad que ellos son parte fundamental de esto.
So yeah, Mundo is saying goodbye. He's saying his farewells. He wants to send a special thanks to Veruska, who is her companion in this mission. He gave me thanks to me, of course, because I'm helping him in some ways with the project. So yeah, Mundo is very grateful. I'm very grateful to you guys for the chance, for the opportunity, and of course, anytime you want to have us back, we are really up for it. So thank you guys.
Excellent. Gracias to both of you.
Gracias a ustedes. Gracias a ustedes.
All right, guys.
See, John, I'm learning.
I know. I get. Yeah.
Like
I'm doing good too. Yeah.
Gracias y hola. Hola, gracias.
Yo no soy. Bye, Taskmaster.
Later, guys.
Adios.